Welcome back to
N.E.R.D.S.
I'm your host Zackary. With me is joined
Lucas.
and today Lucas will be needlessly, endlessly ranting dumb shit about.
Fuck, I have a title. Should you multiverse?
Should you multiverse?
Perfect.
A perfect title. So I'm assuming we're talking about multiverse. You said in the car, parallel universe, weird time travel.
So I got the idea for this episode because me and my
unnamed friend
over at work, we're talking about the new Persona game that's coming out, Persona 5 X, which is a mobile game specific. And it's a whole new cast of characters going through mementos, and I'm like, I asked him, I was like, man, where does this kind of take place in the timeline? Because like mementos is supposed to be gone at the end of Persona 5.
Yeah.
So like, where does this set? And so my friend looked it up, and he goes, so it's set in a parallel universe.
Oh.
And I was upset. So I'm basically, we'll get into it.
Yeah.
But there are good ways and bad ways to do multiverses and parallel universes.
And I have my own very personal opinion about that stuff.
For sure.
So.
But this definitely felt the most cash grabby way to explain some stuff that doesn't make sense, you know?
Yeah. Well, before we get into that, let's get into how we're doing. You want to start?
Sure. I am okay. A lot of work. Did a lot of work this week. Been very productive.
That's good.
Been trying to keep the apartment clean best I can. I kind of slacked today, but I kind of want to just relax today. I do have some very fun news.
Oh.
Been working on some N.E.R.D.S stuff, as I always am.
As always.
And I have I think my final version of the full map.
Hey!
So I just gotta put in all the detail for it.
Yeah.
But it's really cool because it's basically 4 continents that are surrounding like multiple islands within the middle. And the islands are smaller and get bigger as they go out. The idea is that is where the comet first hit.
I love it.
So then the 4 continents basically split.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where the world we're in now. So it's very cool.
Hopefully we'll get to do our session soon.
Very soon. I've gotten the basic mechanics kind of figured out. It's just now like figuring out like health, how I'm doing armor, and how you can do attacks.
Yeah.
Once that is figured out, then we can start like a test run.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'm very excited about it.
I'm very excited. I've been working a lot on Gendrya recently, so it's been very, very nice.
Wonderful.
Other than that, just been trying to stay off my phone as much as I can. Been trying to be more present in the moment. Because another thing I'm realizing is even while I can be off my phone, I tend to look to the future too far. Yeah. And be like, I don't know what I'm doing for the future, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. And having anxiety because of it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm really going to try to focus on just doing what I can for this day. Yeah. Every day. I'm not going to worry about the future. Like, there are obviously stuff I need to figure out, but I'm not going to sit here and worry about the future. I will have it figured out if I continue to figure out each day. So, yeah. All in all, I'm doing okay.
That's awesome.
Today was the only hiccup of a day. So,
anything else?
That's about it for me.
Are you going to ask me how I am doing?
No.
So my weekly session, miserable. I have re-gotten sick. But to rewind, the week was pretty good. Thursday was obviously very, very fun. But I didn't feel very well Thursday. This week has just been a very low energy week for me.
I get that.
Woke up and I was like, I don't want to get out of bed. I want to do Dragon Realms. I just don't want to do Dragon Realms. But I got up. I did some planning. let the party know that, like, hey, it's going to be a little low. We're going to be chilling a little bit.
And then it was not low energy.
We'll get there. Most of it was low energy. But
it was still a lot of fun, though.
Yeah, we got to really get to talk about a character that I introduced in PC. Ishtosh, the Dragon Knight. I got to introduce some core concepts for the upcoming capital you guys are about to get to, so you guys aren't just thrown in randomly, but more of like, hey, this person is from this capital. Why wouldn't he tell you, like, hey, watch out for these people. Hey, here's a little tidbit about these people.
You gave us some good information.
Yeah,
I wrote it all down.
Yeah, it was very fun, and I was like, it doesn't make sense why he wouldn't tell you guys about some things. And we'll see how it goes. But I got to end the session with something I've been planning since session 2, 3.
Damn.
Which was
that long.
Oh yeah. Which was you guys going to bed and then waking up to the town you're staying in. A really very Resi 8 like village town, like very small, kind of ramshacked, on fire and in attack.
Yep.
And you guys woke up to essentially the end of the session was you guys running out of the inn, seeing the town on fire, seeing a bunch of orcs kill people, and one of our characters, main nemesis, who has been chasing you guys for a long while, slit a woman's throat. And then I ended the session there.
And I'm very upset about it, and I'm going to kill that fucking rat.
If you can.
We're going to be able to.
He's invincible.
No, he is not.
I've given him 300 health.
300 health.
He has 6 legendary actions, 4 layer actions. He actually has the ability as a legendary action.
Territory.
Yeah, as a legendary action, he can make something his layer to then take layer actions.
Oh my gosh. That's so broken.
Yeah. No, but it was something I've been planning for a while, so I'm very excited to see how this week goes, because it's like a big boss fight.
It is a big boss fight.
And I really want to do a very homey map where I'm like getting Tupperware and books to like block out buildings, and just very like classic. There's not really any crazy minis. It's just a bunch of like character minis and then whatever I can find around the apartment to block out the map.
Some orcs, some...
Yeah. Which I know we have a few. But other than that, I got sick Thursday night. And so Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I haven't been able to breathe. I've been tired. It's just been horrible. And I think I can feel myself just getting past it. Because I can start to breathe now. But that's just led to my nose burning because it's not used to so much intake of air.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just been a very tiring 2 weeks.
I get that.
So I'm excited to just get done with it. But we have the start of a very, very fun week, which I'm excited about. Tuesday, we get to do a really fun heist for Cyberpunk. Yes. Thursday, we get to do the battle between the Nameless, which is your guys' group, and Sogway Softpaw, a rat folk, who's the nemesis, which is going to be so fucking fun.
And then the week after that, I go to a concert, baby!
This Friday is my birthday. And I get my tattoo. Don't worry about it. But I get my tattoo on Thursday. And so... Yeah, and then you guys go to a concert, which I won't be going to, but me and another friend will be seeing Dune Part 2. For me, the 3rd time in theaters, but for him, the 1st time on Tuesday. So we've just got a very fun coming week.
It's going to be a lot. I'm very excited.
I'm really glad I'm getting out of the sickness now.
By Saturday, I plan on having the playable version ready.
Oh, fuck yeah.
So
of Gandraya?
Of Gandraya. So if you want to get together Saturday.
Not Saturday because I close. I get off at like 9. But the cricket was on the wall. You can't do Sunday. I'd have to see my schedule. My manager had me closing on a Monday, and I was like, I can't close on a Monday because of N.E.R.D.S. And so she then had me closing another weird day, and I was like, I don't know what my schedule is right now.
Yeah. Well, let me know when you're free, because I would really love to play.
Yeah. I'm down for it. I just need to... I can't remember if I close Saturday or Sunday, because I can't remember if it's this week. I think it is. I think it's like I'm off Friday, I close Saturday, and then she had like me closing Monday, and I was like, I can't do that, so I think she moved me closing Sunday. But who knows? I'm down for Kendryo whenever. But yeah, it's we're on the low part right now, but we're about to hit a very fun high part in life. So
life's a roller coaster, baby.
Yup, and I've been feeling like I was ran over by one. Other than that,
turns.
We'll talk about my weekly obsessions in a second, but I'm trying to think. I feel like there's something else about how this week had gone.
I played Magic again last night for the first time in a while. That was fun.
I think I've come to the realization I'm just going to sell most of my Magic.
That's fair.
I've had zero desire to play it.
Could I maybe have one of the decks?
I will. Yeah. So what I have planned is most of my decks are, or at least the big decks are scanned, so I know the pricing range. So I'll probably just offer it to the friend group for a much more discounted price of like, hey, it's $100 deck. I'll take 50 to 60 for it.
That works. Because that vampire deck looking spicy.
I probably will keep like one or two to carry with me.
Because it's still a fun pastime when you're with the right people.
Yeah, for me specifically, I really have to have the right people. It can't be competitive. It has to be fun. They can't, like, the power scaling has to be similar. Like, I don't want to go against it, so.
I understand.
I was like, I have a tote bag right now. Well, the tote bag's half of my other friends, too. So we need to separate that anyways. But I was like, I think I have a lot of, like, modern decks I won't ever play. And I have a lot of commander decks that I enjoy, but I was like, when we move to New York, I don't want to carry that with me.
I get it.
So I'll sell what I can to those people that want it, and then
just pawn it off for the rest.
Yeah, just go to
metagames
and just be like, hey, here's 3,000 cards. Can I get like $20 out of it?
$20
because I know most of them are just commons.
But hey, man, those decks can do some work. I've seen them do it.
That's how I spent most of my Magic, which was essentially playing Pauper, and then getting into like pre-constructed.
Yeah, I got to play my Rakdos deck, and it popped off, like full on like land tap, Soul Rain tap, Arcane Signet tap.
We should play Magic, just me and you.
Yeah, it's so fun.
I enjoy 2-player Commander. I know that's usually not what a lot of people do because it's a 4-player. But I enjoy playing 2 commander, and it's with someone that you know is not going to be like, you have no enemies and I've got 6. Oh, attack! It's like you both get to like build your battle up. And it's like,
I have a Scarab God deck that would be really fun.
Ooh, Scarabs against Vamps, or my Eldrazi.
Zombies against Vamps. I summon a bunch of zombies to fuck your day up.
I still dream of having a pure Liliana commander deck where it's like all the Lilianas, it's a full zombie, and I don't want. That's the oh my god, we can get into it later
for sure.
Magic is one of those that like I love and hate.
We'll talk about it later on,
but weekly obsessions.
Oh,
what you obsessing about? What's your weird shit?
So, I'm
getting nervous.
I have been obsessed this week with watching fucking Kitchen Nightmares and specifically Hell's Kitchen.
Interesting.
And it has been so fun because Gordon Ramsay is what got me into cooking.
Yeah.
I work in a restaurant for people who don't know. And like I don't know, I was the kid who literally like microwaved ham and cheese, put it on a piece of bread, and was like, "This is a Lucas sandwich," and then just ate it.
Yeah.
But then I watched a lot of Gordon Ramsay and watched him cook and and show these recipes, and I was like, I could probably do something like this.
Yeah.
And my first homemade recipe was a Gordon Ramsay recipe.
Damn.
So like, I love Gordon Ramsay. I think he's hilarious, and as well as like, he's actually pretty brilliant in what he does.
He's a master.
Yeah, like
what he is,
and he's aggressive in the same way a coach is aggressive.
Yeah,
in my eyes, like it. Like
100%.
He's not there to like belittle you. He's there to push you to be better.
Yeah.
You know, he's going to tell you when you fuck up, but he's going to try to make you better because he cares that much about food and about you.
Yeah.
Like,
I've always seen Gordon Ramsay as like a drill sergeant.
Yeah,
like they don't scream because they hate you. It's just how they. It's a level of heat that you have to learn how to take, especially in an environment that Gordon usually is teaching his people to go into, which is Michelin star restaurants. Like, that's not just your run-of-the-mill, hey, throw me some burgers. Like, it is an intense environment.
Yeah, because you're making recipes. You're, like, doing a whole bunch of, like, crazy stuff. So it's been really fun to watch, especially since I found on YouTube, in the actual, like, Hell's Kitchen YouTube, there's something called Hell's Kitchen Raw. That is literally the dinner services uncut.
Oh, shit.
No editing, none of the sound effects or anything.
How long?
They're like 40 minutes.
Interesting.
Obviously, they like cut some of the parts, but like it is so fun to watch him just work and watch them work.
Interesting.
Like, Gordon says a lot to everybody. It isn't just a select few that he's just pissing, like throwing the piss at. No, everybody is getting a little bit of Gordon.
Because obviously the TV shows are gonna make it
more dramatized.
Yeah, so they're gonna be like, oh, let's pick out a few people.
For sure.
That man runs that fucking kitchen.
Oh, he runs it, and he runs it hard. It's so good. It's like my favorite way to watch Hell's Kitchen now. So, been really, really enjoying it.
That's why.
Huh.
Oh yeah. Our table was moving, and it's because the table pad.
I was wondering.
Interesting. Nothing against him. Hate those shows. I hate competitive cooking shows.
Watch the Hell's Kitchen Raw.
No,
it's good.
I grew up on like the Paula Deen or like Bizarre and like Andrew's Bizarre, where it's like single person. Fair. Like, we're gonna make some recipes, or like the Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives kind of cooking. And my mom always loved like Chopped and Hell's Kitchen and
same.
Like, what was it? Like American Night. There's the one like American cooking show, like Bobby Flay.
The American Kitchen Warriors.
Something like that. And I just, every single time I was like, I'm out.
Like, Iron Chef.
Iron Chef, yeah. I was like, I just cannot stand competitive cooking. But I loved like I'm in a fake kitchen and I'm going to be making some recipes for y'all. It's like, okay, we're doing this and we're doing that.
If you want something similar to that, then there's a YouTube channel called Iron Chef Dad. It's literally a person who like succeeded in Iron Chef.
Oh shit.
And he's a father now to his like 18-year-old son, and his son made the YouTube channel. And they have like shorts and small things where he's like making stuff gourmet, like I'm making Panda Express gourmet.
I know him. Yes,
it's so sweet.
Yes.
They're so cute together.
I've seen them on TikTok.
And he's like, I bought like $100 banana. Do you think it's worth it? And he's usually like, no, not worth it.
Yeah, no, I've fully seen his content before.
It's wonderful.
Wonderful.
But yeah, that's kind of my weekly obsession. Is I've just been watching a lot of Gordon Ramsay. It's been nice.
Are you gonna do anything with it?
It's kind of refired my love for food in the kitchen, like actually cooking.
Okay.
So I have the D&D cookbook, and I've not made anything from it yet. Ooh. So I'm really thinking, like, next time I go grocery shopping, getting something for a recipe.
Oh my god, yeah.
And just making something, because, like, I do actually like cooking. And I've said it before, I'm not the biggest fan of cooking in restaurants.
Yeah, and cookbooks are there to specifically be like, hey, you don't have to just, like, it's a recipe.
Yeah.
And it's like a themed recipe.
So I would love to make something for, like, the group, or, so everyone can, like, have a little something from the cookbook.
That's very funny, because one of my coworkers, love her. You guys know her, because I talk about her all the time.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
She texted me Saturday night, I think, when we got off work, because she's like a middle-aged woman, but we're very similar in how we are, and she has a very fun life, and I love her and her husband. And she texts me, she's like, holy shit, my husband got me the Lord of the Rings cookbook, which she's been searching for months.
That's so wonderful.
And she's like, can you please make us? I think it was like the Orkin breadsticks.
Really?
Because I've made bread for them a few times. Let me see what it was.
Right, I forget.
Yeah, Orkin's breadsticks. And I was like, absolutely. But I was like, one condition, I want to have the book physically to make them. So I was like, you just mentioning the
D&D cookbook.
I was like, damn. She also just got the Lord of the Rings cookbook.
That's nice. Yeah, I need to... God, man, I really want to make something out of that.
Recently I've been craving my potato soup that I made.
We've been talking about that potato soup for like a month.
I know, it's like my issue with cooking, like normally, it's so expensive to cook those meals. You know, I spent I think $50-$60 on a meal that everyone got like a bowl and a half.
But that's where everyone pitches in.
Yeah. When it's just one person, it's difficult. But when it's everyone is like pitching in a few dollars, like, hey, instead of everyone getting Subway,
because that's the difference.
Like, Venmo me $10 and I will make a giant pot of potato soup for everybody.
Yeah. Like, I have no problem with giving you $10 for you to make some potato soup.
It was good potato soup.
It's good potato soup.
Well, Anyway.
That's my weekly obsession. What are yours?
There's the S.
Yep. What are
I only
yours?
have two.
Because I know it's going to be two.
I only have two. I am repping my fearless leader, my god, my queen, Brittany Broski. Her merch finally came in. I pre-ordered it January.
Love it.
I got it Friday or Saturday night, but I was not feeling well. So I was like, I'll worry about it later. Yesterday I finally unboxed everything. I felt like a PR bitch. I just got a PR package. I'm taking photos. I'm modeling for them. I'm posting an Instagram post like, hey y'all, thanks like the Broski Report for sending me this like PR package. Fully spent like $120 on it. So it was not free, but God, I love it.
Hell yeah.
And it's so cool.
The hoodie looks nice.
Yeah, I'll show you the Instagram because I got a hoodie which has the Broski Report logo in the front, but it has her face or the like old pinup style on the back.
Oh, that's so cool.
Which is so cool, and it's got scroll the other way. But the t-shirt has her in her like she's wearing this like gingham plaid pink, and she's like holding a cigarette with a beehive.
Oh, it's
like,
so
God,
wonderful.
It's so cool.
I love that like 1920s aesthetic. Yeah. It's so cool.
So I just absolutely in love with it, and it's comfortable because I've ordered some things before where it's like, oh, I'm excited to get this. Oh, my Dune hoodie, which you've seen me wear. Love it. But it is clearly like a screen printed.
Yeah. Not
the best quality. And I was like, so when I got this, I was like, the hoodie feels nice. The shirt feels nice. Though, the shirt for being a 2X feels a little small. It feels more like an extra large.
I don't know how to tell you this. You're just getting bigger. I'm kidding. I think you have stayed the same size since the moment I have met you.
Oh yeah, I have always stayed 2X, and I can tell when a company like runs smaller. Like I bought a fucking 6X sweatshirt, and I was like, this feels like a 2X sweatshirt. Like clearly the sizing does not feel the same.
Which, by the way, for people to know, Zach could probably wear like a large if they wanted to.
No, I can wear an extra large. I'm just self-conscious about my body, and that's not true. I am more autistic with my clothing, and I don't like the compression of clothes.
I get that. I like baggier clothes as well.
I was like, it just makes me feel like I'm being constricted, not in a fun way, where I'm like, get it off!
I like flowy clothes.
Yes.
So strangely, bracelets are the things that are made me be like, get it off!
I love a good bracelet.
That feels the most restricting for whatever reason.
Interesting. That's me with neck. And that's majority of why the time I wear bigger size clothes. I don't like things tightly around my neck. But anyways, love her merch. And she only released 3. It was t-shirt, hoodie, and like a sweatshirt.
I need to listen to her podcast.
I fucking love it because it's what spawned me wanting to do a podcast because it's just her and it's so fucking chaotic. Which I thought this was going to be a weekly exception, but her recent episode talks about Beyonce's new album, Cowboy Carter, which is like 80% country.
Oh, interesting. Beyonce doing country, huh?
Yeah. Well, she it's a whole thing where like she's a Texas girl. Like she's born and raised in Texas.
Oh, really? Yeah. I didn't know that about Beyonce.
So like she is Texan, and so though she's gotten a reputation for being a very mixed media, a mixed genre artist, she
feels so much like an LA girl. So
she's full Texan. She released a country song, and it kind of got a lot of backlash, and then like COVID hit or something. But eventually, she released Cowboy Carter, and she made the distinction of like, this isn't a country album; it's a Beyonce album. A lot of the songs are country. There's also a rap song. There's a song named flamenco for like the Latin style of music, and so it's not just country. And it's my favorite type of country. It's like old folk country. It's not pop. It's not this like, I fucked my wife and drank a beer. It's like singing. It's almost gospel-y at times. But, because I love Beyonce.
Yeah.
I rarely listen to her music because it's not genuinely my type of music genre I listen to. But she talked about it, and I was like, I gotta give it a try. And I was like, damn, there's a lot of good songs. Dolly Parton shows up twice on 2 separate songs.
Love Dolly Parton.
Her and Miley Cyrus do a song. She has a song with, I think, Post Malone.
Okay.
There's a song where she has, like, 4 up-and-coming, like, black, I think, country artists. Oh, okay. She has a song where she is with I can't remember the second part, but he's, like, a Nigerian Texan or, like, Nigerian something country artist that's also up-and-coming.
I love that.
So that was just her most recent episode. And I was like, is it a weekly exception? But it's very cool. But I'm just repping her merch, and I love her. I love her so much. It's a dream to meet her. Will I? Who knows? I'll cry probably. But that's my first.
Get us popular enough, we probably will. Or we do something crazy-ass scandal, and she'll probably talk about it.
Oh my god. But yeah, I just love it. Second weekly obsession, which has always been a weekly obsession of mine, but I've been getting back into it. Vampire the Masquerade.
Yeah!
My boyfriend brought me a sticker for my water bottle, and then, I don't even know, I was scrolling through my Steam, and I have Vampire Masquerade on my Bloodlines 2005 video game. And I was like, God, I just want to fucking play it with a controller. Because I'm a controller baby. I don't really like playing with keyboard. I grew up on controller. I enjoy the feel of controller. It's not that I can't do PC. That was my fear of getting into PC in the beginning. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to enjoy it. And then the more I played with it, like Cyberpunk, Baldur's Gate, Helldivers, even the Bioshock games, which I forget I even have. I'm like, I just genuinely... You don't like the Bioshock games?
No, I need to get those games. It was in my top 9.
I thought you said I hate those games, and I was like, what? No, Am I in a parallel universe?
No.
The way you were like, God, I hate those games.
No, I said, God, I need those games.
I played all of those with PC, and I'm just learning. I just really don't like PC, or like, I don't like playing with keyboard and mouse. I just enjoy the feel, unless it's a shooter style game like Cyberpunk.
Or Bioshock.
Which feels much more comfortable to play. It's the same reason I played brass instruments, because my finger dexterity is 0. I have like my hand-eye coordination, just there's non-existent. So I was
button coordination.
Same reason I wanted to play the clarinet, and they're like, you could not. Physically, we'll put you on the trombone because it's a slide. There's no finger. It's a slide. There's no finger coordination.
Yep.
But I was looking through, and I was like looking up, hey, like controller, and I found the website, which I was talking to another one of my friends, my bestie's partner, and I was like, I cannot remember why, but the Steam version of Vampire Masquerade does not work.
Yeah, you have to get the
unofficial patch, and I was like, I don't remember why, but eventually I stumbled upon that website, the unofficial patch, and they updated the patch 2 days ago.
Oh, did they really?
I was like, holy shit, they had 11.5 released. Because I've been playing on 11.4, which last was updated in like August of last year.
Did it release controller support?
It did not. The game just does not. They were like, it could work, but
it just wouldn't.
From what I remember, it was never released on console.
No, it was only a PC
game. A PC game, which then makes controller support much harder. But I was like looking at it, and I was like, damn. 11.5 was released last year. It was updated the 6th of April.
Wow.
I was like, holy shit. And I was like, I gotta play this. So I downloaded it, had a bunch of issues. Luckily, the said friend came over early. And I was like, I don't know what fucking... And they were like, oh, it's... Your computer is physically blocking this because it's a mod and they're thinking it's going to be a virus. And I was like, oh my god, thank you. Mm-hmm. So I downloaded it. They fucking added like rain effects and fog shading. And I was like, it's so beautiful for a 2005 game. And then I was like, God, I'm so excited for Bloodlines 2 because it will have controller support. Mm-hmm. I was like, I hope it just gets here soon. Because I want to play Vampire Masquerade and I love that game with my whole heart. I want to see it new. I want to see it with better controls and better graphics and to see what story they play with it.
You're in the same realm as me with Hyper Light Breaker.
Yes.
I am so...
Which I'm excited about that game too.
Dude, I am so desperate for that game. I looked every day on Steam.
Yes, but Hyper Light Drifter is not that old of a game.
It's not, I know. It's not the fact that it's an old game or anything like that. I love Drifter.
Yeah.
Again, it's up in my top 9. Yeah. I will play that game endlessly. I just really want Breaker.
Yeah.
I just want it so bad because I want more of that world.
Yeah.
And to see it in a 3D space is just so freaking cool to me. So, because Hyper Light Drifter is like a top-down 2D.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful games I've ever played.
Yeah.
But I want to see that in a 3D space so I can really delve into it. So
it's because it's for Vampire Masquerade such an old game, Bloodlines. It's why it's never made my top 9 because the game is so janky. The controls feel very weird. Like though it's a very fun game, it has not aged gameplay wise very good.
No.
Which is a 100% perfect transition to my opening question I was going to ask you.
Okay,
I talked about in the car.
Mm-hmm.
Would you rather terrible gameplay, great story? Great gameplay, terrible story?
Depends on the game.
If you had to choose one. So my boyfriend, it stumbled upon his Instagram or his Tumblr, and I was like, God damn, that's a good question.
That's a hard question.
Terrible gameplay or great story, and great story, or amazing gameplay, terrible story. What would you rather play?
Because both instances have made me stop playing.
Absolutely.
The game. So like, I don't know.
That it's a question I wanted to ask you because
I think usually. This is going to sound weird, but I am usually the person who's going to lean more towards gameplay than story.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong, there needs to be a story.
Yeah.
But I have completed games that had terrible stories before because the gameplay was so fun.
Interesting.
Not like completed, but I've beaten them and finished them. There was a terrible PS3 game. Like the story was awful. It was basically this like ex-pilot kind of situation, and Indiana Jones goes into. They're basically trying to do an Uncharted.
Got you.
Ex-pilot goes with his like I think ex-lover to this island, and there's like some weird sci-fi shit that's going on.
Interesting.
But what made it so fun was there was aerial combat where you, instead of flying a plane or anything, you're basically using a sci-fi jetpack to fly around and use the minigun on there. And it's fucking fun. And the gameplay wasn't bad. The story was just god-awful.
Yeah.
I cannot remember that game for the life of me other than the gameplay.
So that's the question. You would rather, theoretically, always play a game that has great gameplay and a horrible story,
Theoretically,
because yes, that's obviously we're like, well, we want good both. But this is the question: if you could only have one or the other, what would you have?
I would have good gameplay. I think because if a game feels good, it's gonna.
Well, because I don't agree with you. I am the opposite, but I understand your reasoning because you can almost make your own story because of the gameplay. And not to diss it, but it's why I think I like Skyrim so much, because I don't think the story is that interesting.
No.
But the gameplay is very interesting. It's very diverse. It's very complex with how you can play it. And you get to kind of do what you want. However, my viewpoint...
I think... Okay, here's the thing. I think gameplay would last for a little while, but I would burn out really fast from it. Story would keep me.
Yeah.
That's the problem is, like, I would go back and play a game just for the story. So, I don't know. I think gameplay matters a lot to me. Don't get me wrong. But a good story is a good story, and if I can play through a good story, I'm gonna play it. That's why I play the Telltale games. Like, their gameplay is not that good, but the fucking stories were amazing.
That's where I am. I would rather play terrible gameplay and a great story, because that's most of the games, not the games that I play, but I mean, Vampire Masquerade is a wonderful suggestion. That game is clunky to play, and it's very hard to, like, it doesn't feel good at times, but the story and the atmosphere is so good that I continually go back to it. It's not a bad game, but it's why I finished Sekiro, because the story was so amazing that I could overlook my extreme dislike for the gameplay.
Not that Sekiro's a bad game.
No,
it's a phenomenal game.
It's not my type, but it's because the story was so enthralling and the environment was so beautiful and so intricate. It let me kind of go, I hate playing this game, but I want to continue playing more because of the story.
Yeah, because, like, some of my most memorable games aren't even games that, like, I'm, having the most fun with the gameplay or anything. It's literally the world that grabs me, and the aesthetics and the story of it all.
Yeah.
I was just ranting to my roommate about an old 64 game that I love to this day, and I had just remembered and was nostalgia bombing about it.
Yeah.
Turok 2, Seeds of Evil.
Yeah. We were talking about Turok and I think Cyberpunk.
I love that game because the weapons, the interesting mechanics to it, but the world is really what got me into it, like the aesthetics of it all. It's just a Doom clone if you really look at it. But God, is it fun? It's so fun.
It's a very interesting question. I was like, because both, obviously you want to say both. You want to say, like, it depends on each game. But I was like, if you really had to narrow it down, I have played a lot of games that are bad gameplay with great stories.
And I've played a lot of games with good gameplay, bad stories.
Oh, yeah. It's the first game that comes to mind with great gameplay, at least in my eyes, but horrible story, was Darksiders 3. That game played very nicely, and I enjoyed the combat. It was such a weird and bad story that just didn't make sense, and it very much just felt like a boss rush.
Yeah.
But the combat was fun. Getting to use the whip and the way Fury danced around, but God, that story was just kind of shitty.
I mean, a game that comes to mind for me was we used to have an old PS2 game of Ghost Rider, like the Ghost Rider movie game.
Oh, yeah.
That gameplay is phenomenal. Because it's another hack and slash where you start out in hell and you're beating the fuck out of demons with your chain and you get different combos and stuff. Like, very Devil May Cry. It's very fun. Story is shit. It's barely there. But if you do beat it and complete some scenarios, like do some challenges, you get Blade. And you get to play as Blade, and he has his own combos and stuff that you can do with him, and that one was so fun.
I'm so excited about the new Blade game.
Oh man, me too.
But okay, good to know. Yeah, I just was like, I was talking to you in the car. I was like, I have a question for you. I wanted to talk about. Not very difficult, but it is what would be more important?
It depends on the genre.
It's true, because, like, there's a lot of genres where gameplay is not very important. And there's a lot of genres that are gameplay is kind of everything, you know? A Devil May Cry game, its story, you know, isn't always the most important, but how the game feels in a DMC game is kind of the most important thing.
Yeah.
Does it feel good to combo and to attack? And
I would say, like, the hack and slash genre, I would want better gameplay than I would story. Though, like, story helps, but good gameplay in a hack and slash is just...
You play hack and slash for the hack and slash.
Yeah. And then for RPGs, I'm going to have to go story over gameplay. I've played some terrible menued RPGs that have some phenomenal stories.
Fucking Dragon Age Origins.
Yeah.
That game plays, and I don't care if you love it, dog shit.
I do love it.
But that story is such a beautiful story. Even Dragon Age 2. But yeah, it depends.
It depends on the
genre. I'd rather have a good story, because that's why I want to play something.
Gameplay gets me repeating games, and story gets me invested in games.
Yeah.
You know?
Because there's a lot of games where I've quit early because of gameplay. But there's also a lot of games where it has soured a game because of story. Where I have finished a game and went, God, that was just bad.
Like, I don't play TF2 for the story of these characters.
Yeah.
Though their story is actually quite hilarious if you look into it.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Wonderful. Well, you want to talk about...
Yes. So let us get on to the topic at hand. So, we have seen a craze lately of all kinds of media having some kind of multiverse. We've seen it in comics, we've seen it in movies, we've seen it in games.
Yeah.
All over the world. My question is, why? Why is this trope used so much? And I feel like we need to kind of know what the trope is before we can talk about it. Yeah. So, the textbook definition of a multiverse is an infinite realm of being or potential being of which the universe is regarded as a part or instance.
Yeah.
Basically, there is infinite possibilities and infinite outcomes.
Yeah.
And what it comes down to, and what this comes down to, a lot of media introduces the idea to that audience. I wrote that so weird. Basically, the idea is what media like that is introducing is if the audience can think it, it can be real.
Yeah.
You know? So, what are your thoughts on multiverse before I go like real too far into this?
Well, two things. One, to answer your question, why I think we've seen a spike is fully Marvel.
Yes.
The whole Marvel Cinematic Universe, comic-wise, I disregard, because comics have always done this since the dawn of time, this weird multiverse. I mean, that's every comic book edition is a multiverse of the old, because, Peter Parker died last edition, but now he's alive in this edition, because it's something else. But the movie, this last decade we've seen of Marvel's Cinematic Universe, I think has fully popularized over amount of this multiverse. Things can happen with things. I really hate parallel universes and multiverses. Mostly because it's not, as a sci-fi lover, it's it is my least favorite genre of sci-fi. Because it's such a great way for the author to go, I don't know what's happening, and we're going to say it's a parallel universe to not explain any of it.
That's exactly how I feel about it.
So much of parallel universes and multiverses feel like even the author themselves doesn't understand what is going on, or doesn't have a grasp of the laws that are built around it.
And it annoys the
Oh my god, yeah. It's so difficult to be in that, to like be in the understanding of that, whatever lore you're in.
And so, like, to me, there are goods and bads. Like, if we go back to like superhero comics, like you were talking about, I mean, the multitude of like different DC universes that are out there, that take these heroes that we all know and love. Earth 12 is where the Batman animated series and the Justice League animated series is from. You know, and I love those series. Fucking go watch them. New Earth 1 is where the newer live action movies are taking place.
Live actions of what?
Like Ben Shapiro's like Man of Steel and the Justice League movie, Wonder Woman, like that all takes place in New Earth 1.
Yeah.
And then there's even Earth Zero, which is the prime, or not the prime Earth, that's a different thing. Earth Zero, where the original comics are sent in.
Yeah.
You know, and here's the thing. DC didn't even like multiverses.
Yeah.
Because once they started having like a whole bunch of branching paths with different writers and everything, they were like, we need one universe again.
Yeah.
Like, we can't handle having this universe anymore.
Because once you establish a multiverse, once you establish the possibility of infinite things, you completely lose the ability to canonize lore.
Oh, yeah.
Because someone can go, well, it's a multiverse, there's infinite possibilities, why isn't my lore, you know, maybe not canon, but why isn't my lore just as serious as someone else's lore?
Well, fucking DC enabled it.
Yeah.
Because they allowed these writers to make different universes and different lore. And don't get me wrong, there are some great comics that have come out of these, like the fucking The Last Laugh, you know, Joker comic, or, you know, stuff like that. Like, there are wonderful media that has come from different type takes on these characters.
Yeah.
My problem is we are seeing so much of it be bad.
It's when you have an infinite, you know, if you give a monkey a typewriter, eventually they will type a Shakespeare novel.
Yeah. So, DC and Marvel will literally take these IPs and make them canon.
Yeah.
We'll literally be like, hey, I like your story that you're going on. We're going to take it, and we're going to be taking it, and you're going to be talking about Superman now. Here, you're making a Superman movie.
Yeah.
And then Ben Shapiro's like, I don't even like Superman. Why am I making a Superman movie? And my question is, why did he make a Superman movie? Fuck you, Ben Shapiro. Anyway. No, he's a great film maker. That's my boy. Anyway. But what happens when the fans take the IP and make it into something more? Well, then you get Undertale.
Yeah.
So, Undertale, for those who don't know, is a bullet hell RPG made by Toby Fox. It takes the normal RPG experience of traveling and fighting monsters and puts the twist of morality and questioning whether the monsters you fight are just that, monsters, or if there's something more. It's a wonderful game with great characters and a beautiful story that many have latched onto. One character, in particular, opened the door for the whole of Undertale to become something bigger than itself.
Mm-hmm.
See, in the game, you can choose whether you kill or spare the monsters that you encounter. That's the main game mechanic. And the game will remember who you kill and who you don't. And this is all shown with your levels of health and your actual, levels, experience points. And it's also shown from a character named Sans.
Mm-hmm.
Sans is one of the two skeleton brothers you meet along the journey. He comes across as very lazy, funny, goofy dude who loves puns and loves his brother even more. And
good question. Smash Papyrus.
Fair enough. And while that's all still true, it's not entirely who he is.
Yeah.
Sans is the one who judges you for who and how you kill people.
Yeah.
He knows when you reload a save and when you start the game over. He basically sees into other universes and knows what you're going to do and predict.
Yeah.
He's like, and because of Sans and what he brings to the table, the fandom took these elements and just went off.
Amen.
Suddenly, AUs of Undertale are everywhere, skyrocketing into the mainstream within the fandom. AUs like Swaptail, where every major character is swapped with another.
Yeah.
Papyrus is Sans, and Sans is Papyrus in personality. Underfell, where everyone is more jaded and darker and more goth.
Yeah.
Or emo, or whatever you want to take it. There's even Horror Tale, where literally everything is a terrifying horror film.
Yeah.
And there are hundreds, and I mean hundreds more. These fandoms have continued to grow and grow, and honestly, Undertale has become bigger than just a game because of these alternate universes.
Yeah.
That are still going strong to this day.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like, to me, there's a good understanding of, like, multiverses can be good, right?
Yeah.
They can have a good impact. I mean, people love the Undertale AUs. But does that mean that the AUs are justified?
That depends, because there's a difference between the multiverse and an AU. Because, like Marvel, it's set within the actual lore. Actual comic book artists are being published by the company making multiverses. AU goes into fan fiction. It goes into, I want to see this, so I, as a fan, am going to create an alternative universe. That in itself is not really a multiverse or parallel universe. That is, I like this type of content, I'm going to take my own spin on it. Which is very different than, 6 different Batman movies that are theoretically in the same because it's in a weird multiverse and it doesn't really matter. Because it's like, oh, there's Earth 69 and Earth 7884 and Earth this, that, and that. Which is being at least legally under the same company. They are given rights to make those movies.
I mean, those movies and comics, they even reference, a lot of them even reference the other Earths, or they go to other Earths, One of the most famous Justice League episodes is an episode where the Justice League meet an evil Justice League.
Yeah.
They get teleported to their world and are trying to get them to help, but they're not going to help. They're going to be like, oh, there's more universes?
Yeah.
Fuck, let's take over all of them.
To bring up a point, you were talking about the Justice League and Superman. Who makes those movies?
Is it Ben Shapiro?
No.
That's not Ben Shapiro. Oh my god.
Yeah. You were saying that a couple times, and I was like, I'm going to let him talk.
Yeah.
It's not Ben Shapiro, which is a very right-wing politician who's not a very good man.
No. Fucking still.
Zack Snyder.
Still, you can kind of see where I was getting that.
Yeah, I was like, I don't think it's Ben Shapiro.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't remember who it is. Can guarantee it's not that person, though.
Well, still fuck you, Ben Shapiro.
Yeah,
but
fuck you. Zack Snyder, though.
Yeah, Zack Snyder.
But no, that's a good point.
Zack Snyder.
I have no issues with AUs. I have no issues with the Undertale AU unless the people that legally or creatively own Undertale begin to start accepting and then canonizing those events. That is when the issue is. Otherwise, it is people just going, what happens when Batman is evil, and making a cool little AU about that.
So, here's my take on it. I don't think it's a bad thing for you to want to make fan fiction or make an AU or anything like that. I think that's fine. The bad thing is when you start making it to where if you don't like this AU, you're fucking wrong.
Yes, but that's just human, though. That's on anything. How many people are like, you don't like this game? Fuck you. Like, that's not really AU specific or multiverse
It's
specific.
not AU specific, no. But it is still it is why a lot of people are scared of getting into Undertale or saying that they like Undertale is because the fan base can get really toxic.
Yeah. Which is a whole other conversation we're having, though, which is fandoms versus actual compared to the multiverse of actual content.
For sure. All I'm saying is just people be nice. That's my thing. But I don't think there's anything wrong with people making fan fiction or AUs or whatever they want for those characters. It's characters.
Yeah.
Like, it's not affecting anything unless the developer is actually getting affected.
Yeah.
So, like, and as far as I know, Toby Fox is doing fine. He's working on Deltarune.
Yeah.
And not getting death threats like a lot of creators are nowadays.
Love it.
Love it. So, anyhow, that's kind of my take on the, like, Undertale AU stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's fine. Just don't be toxic about it.
Yeah.
But in terms of, like, multiverses or at least parallel universe work that I think actually does a pretty good job on it, Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth has been doing pretty well with how it's explaining, like, no, this is a different world, different story. These are the same characters, but this is, like, it's just different.
Yeah.
Like, because Rebirth especially really shows, like, while the main elements are still similar, there are like, spoilers for Rebirth for anyone who cares. Like, Zack Fair, who is the soldier that like saved Cloud, and Cloud basically took the memories of. We see him in the beginning of the game alive and well, which is not correct.
Yeah.
But it's because we're seeing him in a different timeline, a different parallel universe.
Yeah.
And in that universe, everyone else is dying. Cloud is still comatose. Tifa and Barrett and Aerith are shown getting flown away by a helicopter because they literally got taken by Shinra. Like, Zack's timeline right now is a bad timeline.
Yeah.
But it's more intriguing. Because you then hear that same story being played on the TV when you get back to the party.
Yeah.
So while Zack is living through it, the party is hearing it from the TV while they're in a different town.
Yeah.
So it's weird. It's a weird connection thing. And what makes a parallel universe good is when it adds on and doesn't just completely undermine the content that was there before.
Because that's what I don't like about multiverses, which is... Now, before I say my statement, I understand that multiverses and parallel universes is a great creative tool for creating a similar style content without having to deal with the pre-built foundation.
For sure.
You know, that's why comics are so big in them of, hey, I have a cool story about Batman, but I don't really want to have to deal with the original version of Batman and that's timeline, so I'm just going to create a parallel universe.
And, again, I don't think a lot of the comics are still good.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think the comics do it bad.
I don't think the comics... At least
they do. All the time. They do.
Because it is so flooded with content. If you were to sort out, how many comics, at least Marvel specifically, or DC specifically, thousands. How many are good? How many are bad? Do we see the bad because there are so many? But how many timelines? I'm not a huge comic book fan, but I've seen at least scrolling on Instagram or TikTok where it's like, you know, the fucked up comic books, and you're like, this doesn't even seem like a good storyline. It's someone just wanting to destroy the universe.
Yeah, it's just butchering.
Yeah, and it's like, they do it good because there's so much bad.
Though I will say, I find the zombie AU fucking hilarious for the Marvel Universe.
And that's all also personal opinion. Some people that love the zombie, or, you know, the Joker, like the smiling Batman kind of thing.
Yeah.
Some people may hate that and be like, it's not Batman. And, like, you can't just take this concept and completely ruin its core concept. Sure. So, that was my statement. What I don't like about multiverses is that a majority of the time, they do what you just said. They completely erase every other timeline and say, we are our individualized, specialized, nothing else exists. Mm-hmm. Which then, that's my issue of like, okay, you're just rewriting the story. Mm-hmm. Don't make it a parallel universe. Don't make it a multiverse. Just say it is your own rendition of the story. Because then it's like, it starts to get really fucky when the one artist or the one producer or creator goes, hey, we have all these stories that are separate. I'm going to be the one to break all the barriers down, and then we just get a clusterfuck, which feels very Marvel movies, where it's like nothing is really... Everything is its individualized story, and then you get stories later on that are trying to connect things that don't ever connect or should never have connected, you know?
I think Marvel should have stopped at Endgame. I feel like Endgame should have been Endgame for Marvel.
Yeah, I mean...
At least for the movies. Like,
yeah.
Like, it was the perfect send-off.
And it's also the thing of, like, certain concepts worked better. I think Doctor Strange dealing with the multiverse makes sense. I think that is a beautiful format, or at least concept to work with that, because you have a very specialized, hey, I am a wizard that is supposed to watch it, with the understanding that these universes are meant to stay separate. And so the whole first Marvel, or the whole first Doctor Strange movie being like, timelines are kind of being a little weird, and we're like seeing some things, but it's all explained like, hey, they don't really deal much with each other. But why is Captain America time traveling in like the later Avenger movies? Like, it just, certain concepts don't work well with a multiverse style, and that's why I don't like those movies, because at a certain point you're like, nothing is making sense. Obviously the Iron movies were not built around a multiverse idea, and you're just trying to force that later. Even the Captain America, or like the Thor movies, you're just trying to force it later to then make sense, and it doesn't make sense. But I enjoy a multiverse that does the opposite. It's why I think Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse works so well, because it's not, we're completely different timelines. It's, hey, this timeline exists, it's its own Spider-Man. They kind of logistically make reasoning for it too, of like, the spider exists to bite this Spider-Man, to bite this Peter Parker, or whoever it is.
Miles Morales.
Well, I'm saying, like, the spider is meant for Peter Parker. We get timelines where the spider finds someone else, but it is their separate universes, and when it starts to fuck up, it's not, I as a creator is choosing to break the walls down. That's the story of the walls have been broken down, and it is a shit show. This is not how the multiverse is supposed to work. It's not supposed to be an ever-flowing into each other, this and that, and that and this. It's like, we are supposed to be separate. Your Spider-Man is supposed to be in this world. This Spider-Man is supposed to be there.
There are laws that must happen. Like, this has to happen, this has to happen.
Like, the Miles Morales movies feel like the writers and the creators built a set of laws around the multiverse that makes sense.
For sure.
That they follow into the movies and into their art, that I think a lot of times we don't see in the multiverse. It's in a multiverse or in a parallel universe. It's just, I want to make it, so I start making it, and then I think of the reason how it works later.
Yeah.
Compared to Miles Morales, so it's like, no, you fucked everything up, and we have to fix things now, and we're seeing whole universes completely destroy themselves because of it.
Like, you're not supposed to be here is the main thing for Miles, and that's kind of, it's hilarious that it is kind of that way for Miles. But anyway, we'll get into that another time.
Yeah, we should talk about those movies.
They're good movies.
They're a concept. And I think they do the multiverse so very well.
I agree.
Because, like, I mean, not to keep dogging on Marvel, but that's the biggest...
that's what all the movies, the later movies down.
Yeah.
As soon as the multiverse was introduced is when I started hearing, like, some real crap reviews for Marvel.
Because it makes no sense why it's like, okay, we have a whole set of movies where one Infinity Stone is, like, universe-shattering, and then it's like, oh, I've just got a drawer of them. Like, I know it's the joke. It just completely, debunks the foundation of those movies, where it's like, either you're shitting on previous universes or other movies or concepts, you're either just completely negating them, or you're trying to do things where it's like, my least favorite multiverse trope is like, I'm just going to pop into this universe and take one thing that I need that's like a core concept in their story, and then nothing happens. And it's like, oh, I just got to place it back. Like, it's this idea of like the multiverse is only there to either steal or like erase over other stories.
Honestly,
it just doesn't make sense.
No, I agree, and it's why I think FF7 Remake and Rebirth are doing a phenomenal job.
Yeah,
because Sephiroth is extremely aware of the multiverse and universe that is there. So, and what he wants is literally for everything to die.
Yeah.
So, him being the main antagonist of like, I'm going to this multiverse to fuck with Cloud so I can get finally what I want because that didn't work last time.
Yeah.
Makes sense. And he's like, honestly, my theory right now is that there's another big bad other than Sephiroth.
Yeah.
That Sephiroth is trying to get Cloud to help him with.
Ooh.
But Cloud has such a problem with Sephiroth that he's not really looking in. Because each time Sephiroth has interacted with Cloud so far has been either trying to help Cloud or like strangely.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the audio and the clips I've seen, Sephiroth really loves baby girl Cloud. Like, there are some audio clips where he is like, he's just straight up praising, and it's like, God, I shouldn't be listening to this.
I need you to do one thing: run away, live. Like that. That's what he's been doing. Is he needs Cloud for something, and I'm wondering what it is.
I don't know.
My other theory is that the entire Remake and Rebirth games is literally within Cloud's head the entire time, and Sephiroth is literally just fucking with Cloud's memories.
Ooh.
And, like, Zack and Aerith, who also seem to be aware of what is going on, are trying to stop him and get Cloud to, like, come back to his senses. So...
Interesting.
Because he has... very long-winded explanation. He has Genova cells in him.
Yeah.
That's what made Sephiroth, is what made Sephiroth control everyone for his, like, cult, is Genova cells.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of, like, what is happening.
Okay.
But I don't know. I have to really look into it. Third game will come out at some point, and we'll get answers.
Yeah.
But... yeah, I think that does it pretty well so far, because it makes you question it makes you invested, and it adds on to the world of Final Fantasy VII and the lore that is there, and God, does it love it.
Yeah. A great example of what I think a multiverse does well is the Deadpool comics series. Because I think it works so well is because Deadpool is self-aware. Mm-hmm. It's this idea of like, ha ha ha, I know we're in a multiverse. Hey, this shouldn't happen. Or hey, this is a different timeline.
I know we're in a comic, so...
like, it works because it's not like, oh, this, once again, you're not completely just erasing other comics. Deadpool is hyperly, like, aware, like, I'm in a video game right now, but this is an interesting story. Like, it's the adding on / take of... it makes sense for that character. The character itself either understands it or gets it in a certain way. Because not every multiverse needs to be self-aware.
No.
But there has to be a level of, like, if we are consuming a multiverse, there needs to be the understanding that they know they're in a multiverse also. Otherwise, I'm just watching Iron Man 3 essentially, or like just a different, the 6 different Batman movies we've had.
A different take on something else. They're gonna be good and bad takes, but
but it's like, for a multiverse to really work well, the characters at least have to understand they're in that, and it has to give something. Whether it is the Final Fantasy, like, oh, there's an interesting take on it, or like the Deadpool thing, where it's like, I know I'm in the multiverse, I know this is a different storyline, but I'm kind of down with it. I'm interested to see where it goes. I'm not just completely being like, oh, none of the other stuff matters. And how, like, Deadpool deals with other people who doesn't know they're in a multiverse, or, like, they're in other concept of things, like comics or video games. I think it's very beautiful, because we kind of get that toe the line where it's like, we see what happens when people don't know they're in this weird, like, you're a video game character, but Deadpool's kind of our window through that.
I love in the Marvel vs. Capcom game, Deadpool is so self-aware that he's in a video game the entire time, and especially in a fighting game, that when you build his super meter to 3, which is like your ultimate super, his thing is he will grab the super bar and just beat you with it.
I always think about, it's just called Deadpool, but it's a 2013 game.
Yeah, I remember that.
That game is also very similar. Like, it's so self-aware like Deadpool. Yet the story itself is very interesting. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, all of the characters in here don't know that. Like, they're going about the story, and then, of course, it's Deadpool.
And it's a good way to do a Deadpool video game, honestly.
Yeah.
I especially love when you die as Deadpool, the game over screen is less like an actual game over screen, and Deadpool just kind of berating you like, dude, what the fuck? Yeah. You got a game over in this game?
The whole intro is Deadpool wanting to make a video game, getting the script of his video game, and then being like, fuck no, I can do better, and then you play the video game.
Yeah, and then you play the video game.
And it's like, it's such a cool concept, and we're building on top of this universe, instead of just being like, well,
the funding.
Fuck everything.
The funding.
Yeah, like all of his like little crayon marks you're seeing on your screen. Like it's such a fun, interesting take, but the majority of the time, Multiverse is not done well. At least my eyes.
I agree.
It's a different conversation that we should have. I don't know if this is quite the episode to talk about it, but of actual parallel universes, not as a like tool, but content that experiences a parallel universe. You know, Harry Potter when it's time travel. There's the Looper movies, the like movies or video games. Well, video games can't really do the concept. We mostly see it in movies, which is time travel that create parallel universes.
There are some games that do it pretty well, actually.
Okay, so that'd be something fun.
Yeah,
but that is the content itself, not really how those are utilized. Because there's a lot of great movies that. In Looper is the first one that comes to mind, where it's like the dude is a time traveling agent sent to kill people who fuck with time, and he's eventually sent to kill himself. And it's this like whole like what happens when time is fucked with that creates the parallel and multi-universes. But that's not quite really the discussion we're having. It's more of a multiverse as a tool for a creator.
Ultimately, if done right, I think it can be a tool well used.
Yeah.
But it has to be well used to add on to the content and not just as an explanation for, oh, I want to do this, but it doesn't make sense for the current stuff that we have. And it's an ultimate timeline.
You can't wipe the board clean. You gotta add on to it.
Exactly. And that's, again, why it bothered me so much that they were doing that with Persona 5X.
Yeah.
Because I'm a Persona fan.
Yeah,
very obviously, and I love these games. I love these characters, and Persona 5X looked interesting, but I was just wondering where it was going. And I was wondering why the other characters weren't a part of it, except for Joker. Joker somehow teleports in and helps and does some weird thing, which again just doesn't fit. It doesn't make sense why that works.
That's I think what I said before though, or very much like. The content has to be built for a multiverse. Persona is just not a series I imagine in a multiverse.
So, the Persona games have done something a little similar with the Persona Q games.
Yeah.
Persona Q and Persona Q2 is a what-if scenario of what if all the groups met up and had to work together to do something.
Yeah. But I don't find those multiverses, because what-ifs are the fun, like, what if the Batman was evil and all that. But to be like, no, it's a parallel universe, and like they're different, and the world is the same, but I'm just telling a different story. But we have characters, we have like someone in here, like I don't know.
Like I would be more fine with it if it was like a Persona Q3 situation or something like that, where it's like, oh, okay, like it's its own thing, but the groups are getting together.
Yeah, like you kept it in the story, like the storyline. You know, the Q games that have dealt with this concept, and so making a third one, you're kind of re-exploring the idea.
Which Persona Q delves into timeline weird shit because like each Persona game is supposed to be set in the more in the future. Yeah. So Persona 3 is like 2006. Persona 4 I think is around that time as well. No, it's a few years later. Persona 4 is because in Persona 4 Arena, you get to meet the older versions of the Persona 3 casts.
Yeah.
Which are all part of this like fighting game. It's really fun, and I actually enjoy it. But like, they're harmless in my eyes because it's like it doesn't mess with like a whole lot of like the timeline shenanigans. Because even then, the Persona 2 games aren't canon necessarily, so there's not much that it ruins for the original games.
Yeah.
It's the Persona 5X that is where I'm like drawing the line of like you're literally making a full on like Persona 5 clone with new characters and all that who are supposed to be these characters but just in a new time, like a new universe.
You're just
not
doing anything.
Yeah, the main character of Persona 5X who looks completely different is supposed to be Joker but in a different universe. Come on.
Like you're just reusing content.
You're just reusing content. So that feels bad. It feels cash grabby. Like, cool. I like the design of these new characters, but like,
why couldn't you have had a new story?
Why couldn't you? Well, I don't even know what the story is yet. It's not out for Western audiences, but it's just like it feels bad already.
Yeah,
and it's a mobile game, so I'm not gonna be invested too much into it, even though I love the Persona series. But it's just. Yeah, that's what sparked the entire conversation of just like you got to have more of a reason to have parallel universes and multiverses than just I want to reuse these assets to get more money.
Yeah, and I don't, because we're not behind the scenes of movie producers, comic book producers. I don't know if at times it is hit with okay, if you want to make, the theory, like you as a content creator is like, hey, can I make this concept? I'll just say it's my own spin take, like the Batman movie. So like, hey, can I just make a new Batman? I don't know if behind the scenes they're being like, no, you have to make it canon. It has to be a multiverse, because it might just be producer companies or people that own the intellectual properties of them being like, no, you can't do a spin-off. You can't say this is just a Zackary style Batman movie. Mm-hmm. It has to be within the multiverse.
Yeah.
Because that could be. It could be people like, the Persona 5, Persona 5X, is that what you said? Mm-hmm. Being like, hey, we want to do our own thing, and then the Persona team being like, no, it has to be canon. It has to be a part of this universe. Mm-hmm. And being like, well, we just wanted to make our own spin-off, our own take on a Persona game. So like it's like, who do you blame? Because we don't have the whole story of, are they being forced to do it in a weird multiverse-y way because they're not allowed to take their own spin-off on it because it could ruin reputations. Because that's, a multiverse is a great way to go, oh shit, that went bad. It's not really our fault. It's just a multiverse. It's a different parallel universe.
Yeah, it's non-canon, so it's fine. Yeah. You don't have to worry about it. Like it's just going to sit over here.
It's a great way to be like, oh, that was bad. Like, we can kind of just write it off as, oh, it's a different timeline, instead of just being like, okay, that was a shitty.
I mean, that's what they did to the Zelda games in the Zelda timeline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's what the Marvel movies very much feel like. Of instead of, it's a cop out instead of being like, we made a shitty movie. More of just, it's just a part of it's a different universe. Mm-hmm. So like, it's gonna be a shitty, like, it's a shitty world. It's a shitty time.
I just don't like that it is used as a cop out.
Yeah.
I just think it could be used smarter.
And, yeah.
And that's where this discussion is coming from. Is like, using it as a cop out is a disservice to the things that it does well.
Fully.
And I want, like, I'm not the most experienced with multiverses in general.
Yeah.
But like, I want to placate, like, there are great multiverses out there. There are great universes out there. The fact that DC and Marvel are still continuing on with new stories is a wonderful thing. But it needs to be done well.
Yeah.
So the fact that it can be used as this makes it to where, as somebody who wants to write for a living, it's just lazy writing.
Yeah. Because it's not like, hey, I want to make this cool concept of a game, or like of something, let me do my own spin. It's just, it's almost restricting of like, you have to be in this lore and it has to be blah blah blah. And it's like, well, can I not just make my own spin on it? Can I not just take the content and then just do what I want with it?
And I hope that's what they're trying to do with Persona 5X. Yeah. Is it's just to take their own spin on it, and that's fine. But
why label it as a multiverse?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I would have been much more like satisfied if it was like, no, this was going on as the Phantom Thieves were doing their thing.
Yeah.
Because it looks like it's just sent in Mementos. Mm-hmm. These other thieves were handling a bunch of stuff in Mementos, and it's why Mementos wasn't so bad for the Phantom Thieves is because of these thieves that they don't even know about.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. I can believe that. That makes sense. That's fine. It being a parallel universe that Joker can just kind of teleport into for whatever reason because of the Velvet Room, I guess, feels bad. It leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
Fully. It's why I'm okay with the game Castlevania Lords of Shadow, because that's a whole new spin on the Castlevania series.
Yeah.
But it doesn't put itself as a multiverse. You know, because that game, I have come to the understanding recently that game, timeline-wise, is fucked.
Oh, yeah.
It's super weird. It makes no sense. But because it's its own, in a sense, because it's its own universe, it's its own concept, and it is not tied to the original Castlevania games, I can take it as its own thing. Because if you know, those creators were like, oh no, it's a parallel universe where, well, what happens if Dracula did this and this, and it's like they're still in the canonical scene. I'm like, then you've just made a shitty version of this. But because it's its own game, I can be like, okay, they took a different spin on it. It was unique. It was very interesting. Some things didn't work well. Some things worked very well.
Like, there's a difference between taking your own spin, and then saying that spin is part of a multiverse or universe where they have because like, I don't know, because like, by making it part of a multiverse or parallel universe or something like that, it makes it canon in some way.
Yeah.
You know? The reason why the Undertale AUs work well as just their own thing is because they don't touch the original product.
Yeah.
By Persona 5X touching the original product and basically saying that this is its own parallel universe, it opens up a whole miasma of, like, other situations where parallel universes can happen.
Yeah.
And I don't want that for this series.
Yeah, fully.
So,
it's, I was going to say something. I can't remember what it was. Oh my god. No, it's in my head. Reel it back in. What were you saying? Persona 5. Persona. Damn it. I was going to say something. I can't remember what it was now.
You'll get back to it.
I probably will.
But, yeah. All in all, that's kind of my take on the whole...
Oh!
Go ahead.
I was saying that's something we should talk about, because it's not... Once again, it's not really what we're talking about. I lost it.
Oh my god, Zach.
It was like in my head, and it's about parallel universes. That's what it is. Oh my god.
Right, say it now. Just get it out.
It's the concept of when a content creator chooses to canonize things. That is a fun episode we should talk about. Because that is a very different thing of... The first thing that comes to mind that I'd love to discuss is the Star Wars universe. Because at a certain point, so much of the fandom created content that they themselves canonized, but the creators of Star Wars did not. That we have the Star Wars purge, where they just went, everything is essentially deleted, and the only thing that is canon are the movies and the TV series. Nothing else. And so all of this essentially fan-made canon, who everyone else essentially canonized in their own head, all the Star Wars fans, essentially just get told, JK, everything else is wrong.
Yeah.
So it's a very fun concept, because that's very different, you know. What happens when the content creator begins to canonize things? Does it become very multiverse-y, parallel universe, or do you just expand it to a point where it's too much?
For sure.
Because, like, Undertale, what happens when the creator of Undertale starts going, oh no, this is canon, this is canon, this is canon?
That was the whole reason for the DC Multiverse purge that they did.
Yeah.
Which didn't work. It didn't last long. It didn't work because people were pissed off that some of their favorite IPs were gone.
Yeah.
But, that's why they did that, was because they were like, we have way too much going on that people are saying are canon that is not canon. We gotta do something, so everything's going to this one Earth.
That's what like Marvel I think is at right now, where there's so much content within the canonized multiverse that it is starting to corrupt what is good.
Well, so I watched a detailed diatribe that was talking about multiverse and that the trope of multiverses and everything. And one of the things that they said that really stuck with me was it really stuck with me. Then it went.
I've corrupted you.
You've corrupted me. Was that having it be set in its own world is fine because then the stakes get no larger than the world.
Yeah.
By introducing the multiverse, the stakes are now, the world does not matter because there's just another one.
Yeah.
So now the stakes have to be up to multiverse level threat.
Absolutely.
For it to leave an actual impact. And that's what I don't like about multiverses and parallel universes becoming too mainstream.
Yeah.
Is because it defeats the impact of one universe.
Yeah.
And it defeats the impact of like, oh, well, this universe has their entire universe was taken over by a robot overlord. Whoa, that's crazy. But it doesn't matter because this one's fine.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen over here.
Yeah.
Like, it completely diverts the impact of that. So,
and it can be done well.
It can absolutely
like
can be.
Miles Morales, Into the Spider-Verse. Like that is a great concept of because the effects are so universally it affects the universe.
Mm-hmm.
The characters have to react to that way, and a majority of the times the characters don't react.
Yeah,
and that's what I think made Miles Morales the first movies so well was it's that kind of concept of universes are dying because one kid is alive. It's the trial. Are you justified to kill one kid and save an infinite number of universes, or do you let him survive because he wants to do things his own way and continue to break the universe and have whole worlds out of existence? That's a wonderful concept of fully dealing with the problems of a multiverse.
For sure.
It's because most movies paint a multiverse as a beneficial, this fucked up, like you just said, we'll hop on over to the next universe. We'll just kind of scoot on over this direction. And rarely do they ever deal with the consequence of that information.
Yeah.
So
all in all, universes done right are very good. Multiverses done right are very good. Yeah. But it's honestly, from what I've seen, it's very rare for them to actually be good.
Yeah.
And to be done well. So if you're making something, don't use parallel universes and multiverses as a cop-out.
Yeah.
If you're going to introduce it smartly and have a full reason why it should be there, other than just, I want more from this, but I don't have more I can get from the original, Absolutely. So I'm going to take it. Parallel universe. Yeah.
There has to be laws in the universe that are there.
Exactly.
There has to be, if time travel exists, why does it exist? How does it exist? What fucks with, the space-time continuum or the universe? You can't just be blipping around like nothing's happening.
For sure.
And think everything's going to be okay.
And if you're a fan out there who's making fan fiction or fan art or whatever you want to do and be like, this is my own little universe that I'm making for this thing that I love, kudos to you guys. I hope you have a lot of fun with it. And fan fiction writing is still writing. And
100%.
Please become great writers by writing a bunch of fan fiction and doing great things. I mean, 50 Shades of Grey was Twilight fan fiction, so you know how that goes.
Because I love AU. Yeah. There's something that's so fun about it. I have consumed the media content. I want something different, or I want the continuation of a story. I want something else.
For sure.
And having it in your own hands to be hey, I'm going to read this fan fiction.
I still read fan fiction to this day.
I try to every now and then. It's I just want to read this fan fiction where things go well, or these two characters are together. it's fun because it's never used as a cop-out. It's used to add content or to create a different branch in the content of like, I love this, but what if I made something where it's like, this character died or they took a different turn? Not being like, I'm going to erase everything else and make my own thing. It's more of, let me add to this because I want to see what would happen. And you make your own content.
And that's the thing that we should all learn from this. Let the content be added.
Yeah.
Don't completely erase or reuse or something like that. Add to the content. Really add to it.
It's no hate to people who do this, because I know a lot of people enjoy it. And I'm talking about Harry Potter for a second. It's why I never enjoy the Harry Potter fanfics where it's like, Harry was raised as a Death Eater, and like, it's essentially just that concept of Harry being raised as a Death Eater, and he's like now super evil. Like, the lore of Harry Potter, you've completely just cut at the base and are doing something completely different. I get it's fan fiction. I get if you want to read a dark version of Harry Potter.
Yeah, have fun.
Kudos to you. There's something about that is very similar to what we've been talking about, which is just you've erased the entire point of Harry Potter and you're just using names at this point. Like, everything else
you're just
is
using names for a completely different story.
Yeah.
And that's fine, go off, but at that point, just make your own story.
Literally, just make your own story, and it's cool to be like, hey, it's based off of Harry Potter, but I'm kind of taking my own spin on it. Like, I'm using different characters, but it's like set around the similar world. Like, you know, it doesn't have to be Harry Potter himself, but that's just content creation. People are going to make what they're going to make.
Yeah. I mean, there's plenty of what ifs. I mean, there's the whole, like, My Hero Academia, Deku Evil. That I'm not the biggest fan of, but go off, Queen. I know a lot of people love it.
Slay Pussy Pop.
Like, I'm not here to tell you what to like and what not to like. I just am here to give my shitty opinion about, you know, my disinterest in this. So
I think it's just mainstream.
It's just mainstream.
That's the issue we really have, is mainstream people using it as a
cop out.
As a cop out. Like, that's the only issues I really have with it. Unless, you know, the other story of when it is actually just written bad. But that's usually a very different conversation of just, you kind of just, do you know how to write? Are you a good writer? Like, you just kind of wrote a shitty story.
Yeah.
But it's very different. So.
But yeah, all in all, I've said all in all too many times.
All in all, like, comment, subscribe. If you haven't already, hit that bell notification to get notified when we update every Monday.
You know, there is a study that shows that doesn't actually work at all.
Yeah. And guess what? I'm reverse psychology. They're gonna think it's funny, so they are gonna give a like because they're like, "Oh, it's kind of funny. It's ironistic. And
it's pissing off Lucas, is what it is.
Yeah,
and it's hilarious that it's pissing off.
Yeah, and whoever's watching these is gonna be like, "Oh, that's kind of funny." Hey, I will say though, when they do it in a very funny way, because I follow Chelsea, I can't remember her last name, but she's a New York vlogger. I love her, super serious, but she does it in a kind of funny, jokingly way of like, all right, like, you know, kind of like, comment, like, hit the like, it does help, but like, you know, you don't have to, like, if it's done sincerely in a very kind of funny way, you're like, you know what, I will give a like. It was funny. You're like, I kind of did forget, you did remind me in a certain funny way that's like sincere, but also like, I'll throw you a like.
No one likes her shit.
Looking at our statistics,
about 13 people.
The last like we got was episode 4. We're recording episode 13.
I love
What's sad is that we don't even like our own content.
No, we really don't. Like, I love listening to it, but I'm not gonna like it.
Am I gonna throw myself a like and then? Well, I do have the bell notification on, but it's more just so I can see if we actually uploaded it correctly.
I love it.
I have no idea what I'm gonna do next week. We've talked very heavily about video games recently. But I'm not quite in a lot of books right now.
This was my one non-video gamey one. Semi-video gamey, but not really.
I have a concept that I could talk about, but I really don't know what I would talk about in it. If we did, it would be a short rant, but...
Hey, this one's already a lot shorter than the past 2 that we recorded, so...
Actually, you know what? That, I think, is something we might talk about. I'd love to talk about the... How do I word this? music done by males versus females in very broad term. Ooh. Specifically because I love very specifically black female rap. Mm-hmm. I really don't like rap done by men. Same reason I fucking hate country done by men, because, and I think that's a great thing to talk about, is the distinction we see when female or feminine presenting music creators create music versus male or mask presenting, and the level of difference we see in those music, mm-hmm. and what we kind of enjoy out of them. Because
that'd be interesting.
Not all genres of music, but specifically country and mm-hmm. rap have a very distinct line drawn when it is a male or a female content, like music creator.
I agree with that. I don't know if I have much to say on that topic, because I don't know if I have the right to say much on that topic.
It'll be more of just, I guess it'll be a question mostly about music with country and rap, but we'll probably lead more into how we see binary within this world and how men view women and how women view men.
I'll have some fun little music facts that I can just split into the episode.
Because I think about this all the time, and I've started to build my playlist again where I'm like, I just want to listen to black female rappers.
Yeah.
I don't want... First of all, fully under the opinion, white people can't rap. There are very, very, very few.
There are some that can.
Very few.
See, here's the thing. Rap is a technique.
That's true.
It's not... It is culture, but it is also a technique.
Majority of rap, though, is done under culture, not technique.
That is true.
And the few that are good are done with technique, not culture. Which actually would be a fun conversation to have. Mm-hmm. But I don't know rap enough. As I'm just...
I also don't know rap enough.
Slowly getting into this genre recently, so it's been fun to...
I didn't like rap for the longest time. Yeah. I like stuff much more now than I did before.
Yeah, and I'm getting into rap more, and I'm realizing I am enjoying female rap because what we'll talk about next week of just how it is shown. But yes, you're very correct. Rap is a technique, but it is also a culture.
Yes.
And a majority of the times we see rap under culture, and those that do succeed do it as a technique.
For sure. I just think there are some pretty good like white people rappers who can rap.
Yeah.
Because they have the technique too. Does that mean that culturally speaking they should?
That's
up in the air.
Yeah, because that's, rap isn't. It is based around a culture, but it is a music genre.
Yeah.
That's the whole discourse between Beyonce getting into a country album of she made the whole statement of as a black woman, you know how difficult it has been to get into the country genre and how much hate I've gotten. Because she posted a statement when she released the album of when I first did my little country debut with the Chicks, or the Dixie Chicks, the backlash she received mostly just due to racism. And she was like, some genres are so set in their culture that it is so difficult to try to get into it because people are just prejudiced.
Well, we can get onto that next week. I think we actually do have a lot we can talk about with that. But yeah, I don't want to get too far into it, but we definitely can talk about it.
I'll name it that way. I'll name it music genre, or I'll probably name it music culture binary.
I like that.
Because it's a discussion of culture binary within the music genre. But,
so look forward to that, y'all, for the next episode.
Yeah, hit the bell notification to
every time.
But yeah, that's all I have.
All right.
We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.